We are going to give an amazing presentation called Are You Well Liked? It's about how to manage your online reputation and social media and how to use all this information to help attract new patients. I'm Gary Takacs. For those of you that don't know me, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We provide these webinars on occasion to members of my mailing list as a way to say thank you for being part of the list, and we do this at no cost so we can provide lots of useful information. Our goal is to help you develop a thriving practice. Let me introduce our guest speaker tonight. Because we have so much content, I'm going to ask Len to dive right in. Dr. Tau is a practicing dentist, and I've known him for some time now. He practices in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'm going to give the short history of Dr. Tau's background, and then he'll probably tell you a lot more as he goes along. But he purchased this practice in 2007. And it was a practice that unfortunately had some unfortunate circumstances prior to Dr. Tau's ownership. The previous dentist had passed away, and Dr. Tau purchased this practice, and he started with a bit of a shell of a practice, given the circumstances. And in the last 6+ years, Dr. Tau has taken that practice and grown it to a top half of 1% practice in the country. For a solo dentist by himself, practicing full-time, and I define full-time as 4 days a week. He's developed that into a practice that statistically would fall into the top 1/2 of 1%. I had Dr. Tau on as a special guest on my Thriving Dentist Show. Some of you may be familiar with that. It's my audio podcast that's available on iTunes. By the way, if you're not a listener on that, I encourage you to go listen to that. It's on iTunes. It's free. It's called the Thriving Dentist Show. I had Dr. Tau on as a guest talking about online reputation management, and I was so impressed with his body of knowledge and his information that I said, hey, let's do a seminar. We've got to share this information. To complete the introduction, I'm going to tell you that there is no one on the planet that knows more about online reputation and how to gain reviews and how to use that to market your practice than Dr. Tau. So Len, how's that for an introduction?
That was great, and I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody out there is listening intently, because they're in for about an hour and 15 minutes of nonstop information that they can take back and start implementing in their office tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome. Well, in the interest of covering this information in the allotted time, Len, the mic is yours and the mouse is yours, so go for it.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate the great introduction. So we're going to be talking about online reputation, and the title of the webinar is Are You Well Liked? Why using online reputation and social media is so important to attracting new patients. And that seems to be the number one thing people are trying to do, is attract more new patients to their practice. I also want to state that education without action is just entertainment. And I like to point that out because without action, I'm going to thoroughly entertain you. Only about 2% of the people who I speak to actually take my advice and start implementing it in their practice. So you're going to be thoroughly entertained tonight. You just got to take action on what we're going to be talking about. I also want to state that dentists can't just be dentists nowadays. They also have to be marketers. And that's a very important point to make, because just running a business is not behind the scenes. You need to start marketing your practice. And one of the best ways to market your practice is by improving your online reputation. So why are we here? Why are we here? Why are you listening to me tonight? The reason is because everybody out there is talking about online reputation, whether it's through Zagat with food recommendations, consumer reports, opinions, movie recommendations. Everything is being reviewed. You're being asked to review things. People are reviewing you. It's pretty amazing now. People don't go to a restaurant without looking up reviews. People don't go to movies without reading reviews. They don't go to a hotel without reading reviews about the hotel. And I can guarantee you that they're looking up reviews about the medical doctor or dentist that they're going to. So before we begin, I want everybody to just clear their minds, take a nice deep breath. You're going to get a lot of information pretty rapidly here. I'm going to be talking about a tremendous shift in marketing. There's a new paradigm with reputation management, and it's very important you guys pay attention to this. We're not talking today about pay-per-click advertising. We're not talking about a blog. We're not talking about direct mail or SEO. We're going to be talking today about, as you know, online reputation management. And many of you are already behind the 8 ball when it comes to this, and think that people are talking among themselves in front of the water cooler at work when it comes to talking about you, when in fact they're actually going online and they're talking to Google and they're talking to their friends on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus, and their words about you are being shared by millions and millions of people online. That's really what's going on. I've been very successful with this, and I'm going to share with you my roadmap to success when it comes to online reputation, and point you in the right direction when it comes to the future. I don't want you to look in the past about what you used to do. I want you to look into the future about what you're going to be doing. This is a very fast overview. It's not going to be a how-to. I'm not going to teach you how to tie a tie today. I'm going to basically give you an overview of online reputation and social media. And that's really what it comes down to today. It's online reputation and social media. I'm going to give you both the foundation and the building blocks, as well as some amazing power tools that you can use in order to understand that online reputation is kind of the foundation for everything else you're going to be doing online nowadays. Paid search, organic search, social media, display advertisements, whatever you're going to be doing, it all goes back to your online reputation. And that's what I want you to get out of this entire webinar. But I want to warn you, there's going to be a lot of heads shaking today, and your eyes are going to be going all over the place because there's so much information, and there's going to be challenges ahead. There's going to be a lot of speed bumps in the process, and I want you to be aware of that speed bumps are nothing to panic about. I don't want you to panic. I want you to take a deep breath and relax when it comes to this. Everybody gets worried about a bad review or bad feedback online. I'm going to give you some ways to deal with that as well. I'm going to help you find the answer because of what, how, where, and why to do this. But I also want to make it known that this is very, very, very important. This is extremely important. You guys have to pay attention to this, as well as I don't want you to bury your head in the sand and ignore it. You need to be aware of what's being said about you online. I do also want to point out to you that Rome wasn't built in a day. Why do I point this out is because this takes time to set up, and ultimately patience is a virtue. And if you're patient with this and you let it play out over a couple years, you will see this as a new patient magnet. You will get a ton of new patients in your office when we do this. Now, I want to point out to you that in my own office, that over the last 3 years, I've had 400 patients mention to me that they chose me because of my online reputation. And it's pretty amazing when someone comes in and you ask them why they chose you when they drove 35 miles and they passed hundreds of dentists. And then they tell you that you had the best reviews on the internet and that they were thoroughly impressed by what you had to say and what they had to read about you. It makes you smile.
Hey, Len, I want to comment back on that previous slide. Go back to that previous one if you would. The 400 new patients that you have garnered, that you have attracted in your practice in the last 3 years, that's 2 to 3 new patients a week have come into your, and that isn't just 1 week as a spike, but that's 2 to 3 new patients a week that have come into your practice over the last 3 years, over a long period of time. And I want our listeners to really get your arms around that. Imagine whatever you're doing already in terms of your marketing. Now add another 2 or 3 new patients a week. That's something like 12 to 15 new patients a month. Imagine another 12 to 15 new patients a month coming as a result of what you're learning tonight. Pretty impressive. That might be the difference from taking a good practice and turning it into a great practice. That additional 135 to 140 new patients a year could be the difference between a very good practice and a world-class practice.
And you're right. I mean, and like I said, we get it every single day. We hear it, and people state it differently. Oh, I saw how many stars you had. People don't say online reputation. They tell me, I read the reviews and you had great feedback from your patients. That's what they tell me. So back in the day, there was a video or an announcement. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Well, it's 2013. Do you know where your reputations are? And most people don't. Most people don't even Google themselves. You need to start doing this. So one of the best quotes out there is, we will be known forever by the tracks we leave. It's a Dakota proverb, and I think that's really relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. So I want everybody to imagine this scenario, and we all go through this, is that you're sleeping in the night and you wake up and you're woken up and you wonder what people are saying about you online. And you Google yourself, reviews about your company, and you find that there are reviews about your office, and some good or some bad, and you're going to find some negative feedback. If you don't, there's something not right. And suddenly you realize that people are talking about you. They're talking about you online. They're talking about you. They're talking about your business, and they're talking about the services that you offer. And here's an example, unfortunately, from a dentist in Chatsworth, California, Dr. Edward Dove. And there's a whole Facebook page dedicated to this pedodontist. And this is what you don't want to read. You don't want to see this about yourself online. So we're going to give you tips on how to avoid this. Or this one here. This is from a dentist that the patient called saying she was going to be late. The receptionist told them that they were irresponsible and that they would have to wait because it was the hygienist's lunch. We see this all the time. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to handle this. Some of the best companies out there, some of the companies that have the best customer service, Starbucks, which is known for the customer service, has bad things being said about them, as well as Apple. This is an Apple store locally in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania here, and they have a score of 12 out of 32, which was an old Daggett rating, but that's like 2 stars. So people
wait a minute, Len. Are you telling me someone wrote a bad review about Apple?
Of course. They got 32 reviews.
What's wrong with those people?
32 reviews, and they got a score of a 12. I mean, if I had a score of a 12 as a dentist, nobody would come to me. I'm
saying that tongue firmly planted in cheek, because although I'm an Apple fanboy, and I love the company, right here you can see that even a company as exquisite as Apple when it comes to customer service has the possibility of garnering a poor review.
And dealing with dealing with bad reviews is all about customer service, and we'll talk about that. So people are talking about you online. Your reputation is being shaped every day by people talking and people listening. And we're going to talk a lot about listening when we get into the social media section of this webinar. So one of the best quotes out there by a truly well-respected man who is a gazillionaire is Warren Buffett. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it, you'll do things differently. That was by Warren Buffett, like I said. But on the internet, it's actually a nanosecond. It takes literally a nanosecond to lose your reputation online. So people are talking about your business every day, and in fact, I guarantee they're talking about you right now. Are you listening? You better be, or else people are going to be saying stuff you don't want to read. Today, everybody is a publisher. Everybody has a megaphone. Everybody's writing something negative about you or your business. But I can prove to you, and I hope I've proven it to you, that reviews drive business to your practice. And a great reputation is equivalent to more money. The better reputation you have, the more new patients, the more money you're going to make. And as simple as that. But unfortunately, there is not a repair reputation kit that you can just buy. It takes years to work on how to handle a bad reputation, and it takes years to recover from a bad reputation as well. So this is a typical scenario for the dentist. Let's see if you guys can understand this. So young guy calls up with a toothache, or looks for has a toothache, goes on the internet, looks on Google to find a new dentist, or his iPad, and then calls on his iPhone. That's a typical scenario nowadays. And they come in, you actually start working on him, and you'll see you're working in his mouth right here. And unfortunately, you may have run late, and you may have had a money issue, which are the two most common complaints you see on the internet. The dentist ran late, or they're charging me too much money. Most common complaint. Now, I did have a video here. It's not going to play real well, but it's from Little Shop of Horrors, where Steve Martin's a dentist, and he's punching people and he's ripping people's teeth out. You may have an experience like this in your office. That's not good. But the person's actually going to go home and scream at the internet, and you don't want that to happen, because they're going to scream about you. They're going to scream on sites such as Yelp and Google and LinkedIn, and you don't want that. You do not want negative feedback like that. And I can tell you that negative reviews or poor reputation can turn potential patients away, while a carefully nurtured, managed reputation will attract new patients, and there's no doubt about that. But ignorance is like throwing money away, because I can tell you if the person has a bad experience and it goes unresolved, they're going to say something on the internet, and that's going to be equivalent to lost revenue. So not only are you going to not get new patients, you're actually going to lose money, because nobody's going to come into your office. So reputation marketing is actually all about a number of different things. They are sorry, it's a little delay there, I apologize. Developing your 5-star reputation, marketing it, managing it, but most importantly, creating a reputation culture in your office where your team knows every single day you're looking for the positive feedback from your patients. Because if they give you positive feedback and write about it online, that's how you're going to attract new patients. But what makes up your online reputation? It's not just the reviews about you. It's your website. How great is your website? It's the blog. It's something you're putting online. It's what people are seeing when they search for dentists in your area. It's any mentions by any website. It's anything mentioned on social media. It's a combination of all those things. And so it's not just getting good reviews. It's having the entire package available. And I will tell you that the internet never forgets. It never forgets. But you also need to be proactive rather than reactive. You need to start getting reviews before you get a couple negatives. There are a lot of people I get calls every single day. Hey, Len, help me with my online reputation. I've got 5 bad reviews on Yelp. You want to be able to call me or get started before you get those negative reviews. Because honestly, you can have problems if you have all those negative reviews already. I have, no joke, about 985 reviews online about my practice. And I have about 10 to 12 negatives, and I'll take that any day. That ratio is perfect. But I have people call me up, they have 10 reviews and 7 are negative. That's going to turn patients away from your office. So currently, there are more than 120 websites that collect and republish reviews from the patients. So pay attention. There are a lot of sites out there that you need to pay attention to. I love this one, this quote, "Control your own destiny or someone else will." And that's by Jack Welch, CEO of GE. And you got to take control of this or someone else will. I call it word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouse instead of word of mouth. Because that word of mouse, because people are writing stuff online, they're not speaking it. Big shift in the way we're looking at things. So here are some online reputation statistics I wanted to point out to you. It affects the consumer's decisions. 7 out of 10 consumers said they trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations, where 5 out of 10 consumers said they were more likely to use a local business because they had a positive reputation. Enormous statistical analysis here. Whereas 90% of consumers trust peer recommendations, 70% trust unknown users, anonymous people online, where 27% trust experts and only 14% trust advertisements. So you want to put your money where everything is, and that's online reputation. And I can tell you that the impact that you have is your online reputation impacts your sales by up to 20%. And you'll see a 20% plus or minus depending if you have a positive reputation or a negative reputation. I like statistics.
Can I comment on this for just a minute?
Sure.
As you're listening to this, one of the things I want you to start to get your arms around as you're listening to this webinar is the way that your online reputation management can reduce your marketing expenses, can reduce your marketing costs. Most of you listening to this know me, and you know that I own a practice. Although I'm not a dentist, I own a practice in Phoenix, Arizona. And I can tell you exactly what it cost us last year to generate a new patient. Our cost of acquisition for a new patient, Len, was about $119. With all the different marketing activities we did in my practice and the number of new patients that we derived last year, it cost an average of $119 per new patient. As we've started to work with Len and started to understand more about reputation management, we're bringing those costs down because it is less expensive. It's not free to manage your online reputation, but it's less expensive than some more traditional marketing sources. And that's one of the great ways that you can use this information is to reduce your marketing expenses and in turn attract a better patient, one that already knows you and trusts you before they ever arrive.
Oh, and that's definitely true. These patients are sold almost before they come in because of your online reputation. I have people that literally come in, I want to do veneers, I give them a price and they're sold because of the way I presented myself online. So I see that every day in my office. But basically, this is a very important slide to look at. It's a quick review of how do customers' reviews influence your decision to use a business. And you can see this is from 2010 and 2012. Basically, I tend to select a local business based on other factors such as location and price has dropped about 10% over those 2 years. Where I read reviews but they don't influence my decision actually went up about 8%, and 2% said positive customer reviews make me more likely to use a local business. So more and more people are actually using reviews to make business decisions. And I think that's really, really important to pay attention to. So there are 3 steps to online reputation management, and we're going to go over all 3 of these steps. One is establishing your online reputation, where you need to be found, and we're going to talk about citations. Managing and developing your online reputation, which is like we said, 90% of consumers read reviews, and this is going to involve asking for reviews, and I've helped develop a program that allows you to ask for reviews while the patient's in the office, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And as well as a third step is monitoring and protecting your reputation, because a negative unaddressed review can severely damage your brand, and as I said, turn potential patients away. You can't ignore your reputation. You can't put it in sand and like an ostrich, and it won't make it any better. And that's really important. But I also want to point out to you that you can do this to a negative review and make it a positive. This is a classic picture from a store. Come in and try the worst meatball sandwich that one guy in Yelp ever had in his life. And that's a great, you take someone taking a negative and making it a positive. So you want to be able to do that because you don't want this. You don't want to see this. We waited 30 minutes and there was no service. That's not what you want to see on the internet about your practice. This is obviously not online, but it's a picture someone took and posted on a website. That's not what you want to see. So why do reviews have the greatest weight in building your reputation? It's because people see these before they see your website. When they're looking for a dentist, they're going to see a number of different sites come up. It's not necessarily going to be your website. It's going to be information about yourself. So you want to make sure that you have the best online reviews because that's going to make someone go to your website. And 70% of online searches will use local search to find online businesses, or excuse me, offline businesses, I'm sorry. So let's talk about step one, which is establishing your online reputation. And this involves in evaluating and claiming your listings, which are known as citations. And this is basically you want to make as big a digital footprint as possible. You want to have a huge digital footprint in directories, in maps, in search on any listings out there. And this is a very confusing citation listings that talk to Google. And we'll talk about that a little later as well. So the most important citation that you need to have is obviously Google plus local. Google's king, the most important thing out there. Excuse me. So this is my Google plus local page when it comes up. Excuse me. It just really delayed. Hey, Gary, I can't advance this slide.
Oh, okay. Are you back on it now?
No, there we go. Okay. Nope. Now it's going too fast. I apologize. Okay.
If you haven't clicked on it in a little while, then you might have to just take your mouse and put it on the screen to reactivate the forward button.
So this is a search in Pennsylvania, or in Philadelphia, obviously, on my practice. My name is Pennsylvania Center for Dental Excellence. There's my Google Plus local listing with all that information about my practice. But you'll notice my website's #1, and I have 95 Google reviews with 4.7 stars. Below that is my Yelp listing, and we'll talk about Yelp in a little bit. There's my Facebook page, there's my city search listing, and there's my Yellow Pages. Those are citations. Those are what I'm talking about when you type your practice name in. So the very first thing you want to do when you leave this webinar is to go onto your onto the internet and type your practice name and your name and see what comes up. Very most important thing you got to do. So Google plus local for business, your listing is critical for local search. Your old first 5-star reviews were converted to Zagat ratings. Now they're back to 5 stars. Your listing is indexed more heavily by reviews than ever before. Reviews have such an important ranking factor now. And obtaining reviews in Google is difficult manually or asking your patients to do that. So we're going to give you some tips on how to do that as well. So this is my Google Plus page as of yesterday, my Google Plus local listing. And you'll see I have a team photo on there. You have 95 reviews with a 4.7 stars. And at a glance says, Dr. Tau, flexible payment options, state-of-the-art, recommended doctor. So that's going to be like a little gist of what people are saying in the reviews about yourself. I know a dentist who had something like disappointing service, always late. Those are things you do not want to see about your practice. Now, if you don't claim your Google Plus local listing, this is what happens. There's no score, nothing's optimized, there's no photos or anything, and there's very little information on these reviews. So you want to make sure you claim your listing. You want to go to Google Plus local, claim your listing, and add content to it. Photos, videos, coupons, anything you can put on there to make your site more readable. There are some recent changes with Google Plus local. One of them is now you can sort reviews by the following: most helpful, latest, highest score, and unfortunately lowest score. Before, you were able to bury a negative review. If you got a negative review, you can put 10 positives about it and put it to the second or third page, and nobody would read it. But now if someone wants to see all your negative reviews, they come up first immediately when they click lowest score. That's not good for us. On the same note, the only way to really leave a review on Google Plus is through a Google Plus account or someone who has a Gmail account and converts it to Google Plus account. So those are some negatives with these changes that Google just had. So this is an example.
Let's also make the point that Google is constantly changing their criteria. And of course, they won't tell us what their ranking criteria is. That's their secret sauce. However, you stay up on this quite literally on a day-to-day basis so that if Google's making changes, you're quickly adapting and responding to those changes so that you're be able to be again, more proactive rather than being reactive regarding the changes that are happening with Google.
Correct. Google's making changes all the time, and I'm up on so many of the blogs out there. I find out about the changes immediately and start implementing them in my practice. I mean, they used to allow reviews to be left in the office. They're no longer allowing that. They don't want to see reviews coming from the same IP address. They don't want to see the same reviews coming from a review website. You got to be really careful how you get reviews on Google nowadays, or else they'll take them down. This is an example of my Google Plus page again, where these are patients who've left reviews. What I want you to notice is they aren't one-liners. There's actually 2, 3. Marianne left like an 8-liner. People read these, and the longer they are, the more credibility they have. They're going to have their name attached. They may have a photo attached, but this is what you want your feedback to look like. So how to control what I call the Google monster. You want to influence the content associated with your business. You must have your Google Plus local listing optimized. You really only want to push happy clients to Google Plus to review you, and I would not subscribe to sites that advertise on your page. So that's when we talk about Yelp, we'll see a problem there as well. So this is the very, very confusing search ecosystem out there. This is all these sites somehow talk to Google through what's known as a citation. So you really want to get out there and claim your citations, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. So these are some of the more important review sites for dentistry: Google Plus Local, Yahoo Local, and Bing Local, which are the 3 big local ones that you need to pay attention to. Healthgrades.com, CitySearch.com, Insider Pages, Judy's Book, which is very well respected by Google, Angie's List, another one very well respected. You need to pay on this site. You need to pay to see the review. You got to pay to leave a review. So take that with a grain of salt. Demand Force and Rated Dentist, which are 2 companies in dentistry that specifically get reviews from their patients. Dr. Oogle, which is probably one of the only sites that actually pay to advertise on. I will tell you that once you're in the top 10 of reviews in your town, Dr. Oogle makes you pay or they take the reviews down. So I actually decided to try them for a year, and they've been very, very successful in sending me patients. I have a great return on investment. A site called Hot Frogs, a site called RateMDs. RateMDs actually has the most dental reviews of any website out there, believe it or not. It should be called RateDMDs, but it's not named that. And then a newer one called DoctorBase. So those are some you need to pay attention to. But you'll notice I left one off. And usually I ask my audience. I can't ask anybody here, but that site is Yelp. And it's people love us on Yelp, and Yelp, real people, real reviews. But I can certainly tell you that Yelp is something I would stay away from. I am not a big fan of Yelp. Stay away if you can. People hate us on Yelp. Real people, real awful reviews. Yelp is basically extorting money, and they're running an extortion campaign from small businesses. And I have firsthand knowledge of this, and I want to show you how that played out. Yelp will actually call you on the phone after you get a couple of good reviews, and they'll say, "Hi, this is Sonia from Yelp. I'm calling because you got some great reviews." And you'll tell Sonia, "No, thank you, Sonia. I don't feel like paying you." As I showed you guys, Yelp comes up literally on the first page of Google when you type your practice name in. So basically, there's no reason to pay them for advertisements at this point. You tell them, "Are you sure?" And they will say this, as a matter of fact, not working with Yelp will be detrimental to your business. Not working with Yelp will be detrimental to your business. And you say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. And then all your reviews are taken down. So here's my, this is taken today. These are brand new screenshots. This is my listing. I have 2.5 out of 5 stars with 4 reviews. This is a review from Suzanne. And you'll notice Suzanne is an elite Yelper. 58 friends and 131 reviews. That's great. You want people like that. You'll then notice we have a negative review from a Jacqueline. You'll notice a somewhat review from a woman, someone named Webby, and then Natalie G also gave me negative. So I have literally 3 poor reviews and 1 good review. Now you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, though, there is a link that shows when it loads in, and I don't know why it's not advancing. Gary, I'm stuck again. Oh, there we go. Of course, it goes way too fast then. So you'll notice at the bottom of the screen here, there is something that says 21 filtered reviews. Well, what's a filtered review? Well, they make you actually click on it, and one of these robots come up where you have to actually fill in what this says. Once you fill it in, up pops 21 reviews. Now, the first one's a negative review, but every single one of the other 20 basically are all positive 5-star reviews that Yelp will actually take down. And they take them down because they don't think they're legitimate reviews. So that's a big deal in my mind that they take these reviews down. So you really want to be careful when dealing with Yelp. I certainly would not pay for their service. That's something I would do. And as you can see, there's another negative review that was taken down. But here, this is brand new stuff from today. I have 926 user views of my Yelp listing. So you need to decide whether that 926 users are being affected by seeing 2.5 stars. And if you think it is, you pay them and they may get reviews, more reviews posting. I choose not to pay them, and I don't know how many of those 926 people actually called my office. They say I had 57 customer leads, but you have to log into your Yelp profile and see what's happening. I certainly would not pay Yelp. And I'm not the only one who has this situation. This is a Facebook page dedicated to I Hate Yelp. And also, we Hate Yelp. Also, another Yelp one, Real Reviews for the Right Price. So everybody, Yelp is a fraud. That's another page. So people are seeing this all over the country. Now, I can tell you that on our website and in our office, we have the sign that says the Best Kept Secret Award. This business has 5-star filtered reviews. So people know when they go on Yelp that we have these filtered reviews so they can read them if they so choose. And I'm not the only business that has a problem. This is a Chinese place in, I guess it's San Francisco. It's Stop the Bully, Boycott Yelp. Our customers repeatedly tell us that they have submitted very good reviews on our food and service, yet they never show up on reviews. We asked Yelp, we were told perhaps if you paid us to do Yelp ads, we could help you with this. We earn our good reviews. We will not pay bribes to Yelp to post them. So I'm not the only one having issues with Yelp, and I bet a lot of people on this call are probably having issues with Yelp as well. So as they say, God Yelp us all. They are indexing in Google. It's the second site under my name. They're stealing away my business. They have actually, if you pay them, they have tons of ads, even still on their on each page for you, and they're listing your competitors. They filter out your positive reviews. They actually pay us or you look bad. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and they're not embedded in Apple Maps anymore, so don't worry about that. So what to do about the evil Yelp? You want to focus on Google reviews. You want to associate more content to push Yelp off the first page, and I can tell you that will be nearly impossible to do because I have tried and I still can't get it down further. You can send only trusted Yelpers to review. So if you know someone in your office is a Yelper, you can actually ask them to leave a review for you. Or some people have given in and pay for their services. That is not something I'm ever going to recommend to do. So we talked about citations, and I want to bring that up here. And this is what a citation is. Actually, no, it's not this citation. It's not a cop writing a ticket on the side of the road. What a citation is, it's actually a listing or mention of your website on other web pages. They act as a link for a local SEO. And they're usually acquired through a registration process on the website. That's what it is. The more places that your business is cited, the easier it is for search engines to find your business and the more trust and confidence they have in listing it. But there are some rules that you need to pay attention to. The information needs to be exactly the same way on every single site. It's known as the NAP, the name, address, and phone number. You want everything to be exactly the same way. So suite or STE, Pennsylvania or PA, company or CO, and or the and sign or street or ST. These are all things you need to pay attention to. And you want to be able to put your address on every single web page at the bottom. You want it on the top too, but you want to have it at the bottom because that's good for citations as well. Some other information is you want to use a local phone number rather than a toll-free number. So you do not want to put tracking numbers on your homepage. Very important. If you have multiple offices, you want to have a separate page for each listing, and do not pay for citations. I wouldn't pay for Yelp. If you want to pay for any, I would pay for Chamber of Commerce and a Better Business Bureau, but other than that, stay away from these. So this is that's very confusing search ecosystem that I showed you before. All of these are very strong citations for Google. Now, how do you find out about citations? There's a free website you can go to, and that is known as getlisted.org. That is the website you want to go to, and you basically want to put your name, your business name, and your zip code, and it will check all your listings. And I have to eliminate some content, so I'm not going to run you through this, but basically you'll be able to see what listings are out there for you, what listings are claimed, what are not claimed, and any information you need to add to that. So this is something free that you can start doing, getlisted.org. Some of the most important top citation sources for dentists are these sites here: Yelp, Yellow Pages, YouTube, healthgrades.com, Superpages, Dex Knows, Dr. Oogle, Yahoo, Facebook, and Angie's List. Those are some very strong citations for Google when it comes to dentistry. So moving on, the information that you want to do is you want to claim it, you want to update it, you want to manage it. These are everything you need to do your citations. And some of the information that they're going to request from you is this. This is your content toolbox. This is what you need to provide to almost all these websites. A business description, a product description, your contact information, your website, a company logo, lots of photos and videos. People find those very engaging. Some testimonials, any coupons that you're going to offer, and any awards or anything that you have, any accreditations. So that's really what's important there. So not only is it important to be on Google and everything related to Google, it's also extremely important nowadays to be on social media. So we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about social media here. And there's a ton of sites. There's hundreds and hundreds of social media sites. I'm going to talk about a couple of them. Now, the big part of social media is that you're going to join a conversation. Social media is about conversing. It's about people talking to people. You need to be part of that conversation. But I can tell you that every good conversation starts with good listening. So you need to actually be listening. You got to open your ears up. You have to be listening to what people are actually saying about you and your business. The primary purpose of social media is to build trust and relationships that will eventually turn into people buying your product. It's not about selling dentistry. The primary purpose of social media is not to sell dentistry. Now, the main site when it comes to social media is, of course, Facebook. Facebook absolutely dominates. There are over 1 billion people on Facebook right now. You got to be there. Your practice has to be there. I'm on there. I don't really do personal posting, but I'm posting on Facebook every single day and interacting with my fans, as they say. So for businesses, it's easy and helpful. You want to use your timeline to your advantage. It's marketing gold that they have access to your clients through these networks every single day. One of the best content you can have is a positive review and recommendation. And the like count that you want to look for is about 500 fans. When you have less than 500, you're not going to see the stuff become viral. More than 500, I have about 750 something right now. I get posts seeing 300 or 400 based on something called Everrank that Facebook has. So this is actually my timeline. This is what it looks like. You'll see at this point I had 653 likes, and I had 98 people checking in. And checking in is like instant word of mouth about your practice. So you want as many people to check in your office. Very, very important, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Next one's Twitter. I don't really use Twitter all that much. This is what my Twitter page looks like. You'll see it come up here. I basically post my reviews. I contact my patients via Twitter, direct mail, direct messaging works really well to get their attention. And I also post to my followers that I have a last-minute opening, and usually 5 minutes later the opening's booked. That's how busy we are. So that's what I really do on Twitter. But the nice thing about Twitter is Google is actually indexing the conversations now. So that's really, really important. Even more important than Facebook, in my opinion, is YouTube. And YouTube's logo is broadcast yourself, but I'm going to tell you to broadcast your practice. And this is a great way to get some great video testimonials about you and your practice out there. And if you didn't know that, YouTube is actually the #2 search engine. It's actually bigger than Bing, Yahoo, Ask, and AOL combined. This is what my YouTube channel looks like. I have about over 60 videos right now. Most of them are patient testimonials. Most of them are feedback from my patients. I've been on TV a lot. A lot of them are replaying of my TVs. As you can see, I had over 21,000 views of my videos since I started in 2006. That's pretty amazing. This is a specific video. This is Laura. Laura had some veneers done. What I want to really point out to you here is this was posted in September 25th, 2011. And the very, very, very next day, I was on, or actually, excuse me, 4 days later, I was on the first page of Google under Philadelphia Cosmetic Dentist with this video on page 1. That's how fast you can get videos uploaded to Google because they're owned, YouTube is owned by Google. That's how fast you can get this done. Video is so important nowadays, you can't ignore it anymore. You have to get positive stuff from your patients. The last thing, or the second to last site is blogging, and why do you want to blog? Or really, realistically, to blog or not to blog, that is the question. And you really should be blogging. Blog represents the best chance for companies to inform the conversation. You can get your word out there very easily, and people are going to read it and comment it. But why blog? Why spend the time blogging? Well, your patients will sometimes read it, but more importantly, Google, Yahoo, and Bing will always read it, and that's why you want to blog. And it's only one aspect of your Google matrix. The last social media site I want to talk about is Pinterest. And Pinterest is 97% women. It's the fastest growing social media site ever. And basically, Pinterest is a pin board. You pin photos, and I have a lot of different pins I'm pinning here on different things. But this is a specific case that got a lot of people responding. This was a before and after case I posted on there, and literally the next day someone said they saw my pin, they have a mouth just like this guy, they want to look just as good as this guy. So the next day I got a patient through Pinterest. It has some of the best referral traffic out there, so you don't want to ignore Pinterest either. So what are people saying about you? So let's talk about how. How are we going to get reviews? And that involves step 2, which is managing and developing your online reputation. So how are we going to get reviews? How are we going to get reviews and feedback about you, your office, and the services you offer? The whole point here is that everybody is now asking for some feedback. Literally, these are things I've gotten in the mail. I went to Red Robin wants my feedback. I just bought a new Canon printer from Staples, and they're asking for a review. Write a review and help others online. Starbucks. I was at a Dental Town meeting. 3M was asking for reviews about the products. Even PetSmart. Everybody's asking for a review, and you need to do the same. The moral of the story here is you need to ask for a review. And I've been fortunate enough to help develop a system in my office to help with reputation management. And I'm going to share this with you so you guys understand this. So it's called iSocial Reviews. So what is the easiest way to collect a review in the office? Well, again, I would ask the question if we were a live audience here who can actually answer me, but it's actually while the patient is still in the office and when they had a great visit. That's when you want to ask them for feedback. The system that we've helped create is easy. It's easy to do. There are a ton of companies out there to get feedback from your patients, but they're very difficult. A lot of them ask them tons and tons of questions. They work well, but the patients get annoyed and they don't want to fill it out. The system we've created is very, very easy. And there are actually 8 different ways to collect feedback from your patients with the system. Most importantly, it starts at the morning huddle. This is where everything starts. If you're not having a morning huddle, that's a problem. Everything starts at the morning huddle. We discuss what's going on during the day. It's like our itinerary for the day. And that's what's most important. And at the huddle, we talk about patients that we're going to focus on. And these are some of them. Those that have a Gmail or Yahoo email address, because those are going to be the easy shares. Loyal patients of your practice for a long time. Those that referred patients to your practice in the past, so obviously they're happy with your services. Patients who just completed a big case. And then patients who state how great their visit was. Those are patients that you definitely want to ask for feedback when they're in the office. So this is my front desk. This is my checkout. People are checking out here, and you can actually see there's a sign that says, please rate our performance. I'll show you that in a minute. But there's also this sign when you move close that says, please ask us how you can get one of these. And these are some whitening pens that we give out to our patients. If someone says, how do I get one of these? We simply state to them, if you want to provide positive feedback about your services, I'd be glad to give you one of these. Now, if it's someone that you don't want to leave feedback, you tell them it's $5 and they put it down. So it's an easy way to distinguish who you want to do it, because someone's not going to pay $5 for this. So we ask for feedback from our patients, and this is actually my notebook that someone's leaving us some feedback on. She's standing there writing some feedback on my program. There's other ways to do it. You can collect it via an iPad. This is an iPad in our office. It's an iPad stand. People can fill it out here. I can tell you that in my experience, patients don't like typing on an iPad. It's just more cumbersome. So if you're going to do this, use like one of those Bluetooth keyboards. You can also use it via a Chromebook, and they can also leave it on their mobile device. This is what the patient sees when they're going to leave feedback. Your opinion matters. We want to provide outstanding service to all of our patients. Would you answer a few questions about your experience with us? And we basically ask the patient, would you provide feedback about our services? Give us a story. I don't want a review. I don't want a testimonial. I hate those terms. So we ask for feedback from our patients. They get presented with 3 questions. Did we meet or exceed your expectations? How would you rate our overall performance? And would you recommend this to a friend? These are all fully customizable, but they're 3 very easy questions to answer. Hopefully, you're going to get 5 stars if you pick the right people, but this also has some negative review engagement, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's assume the person gives you 5 stars. Well, the next question is, thank you, would you please tell us your story? And I want it to be a story. I don't want one-liners. I don't want Dr. Tau is the best. That's not going to help you on the internet. You want a story. We ask them for their name, their email address, their phone number, and then the feedback they're going to provide. We also tell them that your name, email, phone number, and any other information are held in strict confidence. Very important so your patients trust you. So this is a review left yesterday by a patient by the name of Megnan, and she left this long review. I can't scroll down because it's not live, but you can see how long a review, some feedback she left us. She clicked submit after providing us with the information. And basically it says, I certify that I was not compensated for leaving this review. I further authorize your office to use it in its traditional and online marketing efforts. So the patient is giving you permission to do that. What happens next is they're told, thanking them for leaving feedback. Would you please share your feedback with the world? You will receive an email with links to a few review sites. It will simply allow you to copy and paste your comments to the review site of your choice. Thank you. We really appreciate your help. And then the patient's done. The patient's done, and that's the end of it. So what happens here is it immediately, as long as it's positive, which if they do it this way, it's positive, it immediately posts to your Facebook business page. And this is the one she left for me. And you'll notice that immediately, a couple seconds later, I actually thanked her for her feedback, and I'm glad her enjoyed her first visit. So you comment on what they wrote about. Very important. Postings to social media sites is all about conversation. You need to be part of the conversation. It also now posts to Twitter. So here's that review also posting to Twitter for your Twitter followers to find. Now I mentioned you want stories, and this is the great story. I like to show this off to everybody. This is left by Sharon, and it's a short one, but it's still a story that's very powerful. I've been to so many dentists in my life, and Dr. Tau is by far the best. I have such a beautiful, perfect smile that was pain-free. I was introduced to Dr. Tau from my ex-husband. I have 3 blessings in my life, my children and Dr. Tau. And that plays it hits home with a lot of people. So it's really important to get these people to post stories about your business. Now, before the patient leaves the office, we actually hand them one of these cards. Whether you want them to post on Google or Yelp or anything else you want to create, we give them these cards. It's a thank you. It's a reminder to leave the review on Google, and on the back, it's actually a care to share card. We want them to give it to someone else, and we'll give them the same excellent service that we gave them. So that's what we hand to all these patients. Now let's assume you asked the wrong person, hope you didn't, or someone goes to your website and leaves something negative. 3 stars are left. This is called negative review engagement. And it simply says, please tell us what we could have done better. And we ask the patient for their name, their email address, the mobile phone number, and we say, please tell us what happened. So when we click submit, it doesn't go to Facebook, it doesn't go to your website, it doesn't go anywhere except to your cell phone as a text message that says you received a negative review from a patient. And it gives you the phone number, and it gives their negative feedback. And at that point, you have the option of ignoring it if you want, calling the patient, emailing the patient, whatever you want to do. But that's really important. Your goal is to have them yell and scream at your program, not anything else on the internet. Very, very important to take away that. In your back end, which is the dashboard, it actually has the negative review in red, so you're able to pinpoint the negative review. The only one who sees this is you and your team. Nobody else has access to this. So when the patient gets home, there's actually, this is what the email looks like. And it says, thanks for your feedback. You can check it out here. And it actually gives them the feedback that they left. You basically can click here, click to publish a review. When they click on to publish a review, it actually puts the review right in front of them, and they simply have to click copy. It copies it to their clipboard, and it says, ask where do you want to post to. You can post to Google plus local or any of these other sites that you have claimed. Now, I tell my doctors who are using this program that I would only put about 4 or 5 programs on here. I wouldn't put that many more. I would limit it to Google, Yelp, Yahoo, probably Yellow Pages, and maybe 1 or 2 others, and that's it. I only use this as an example, but you don't want to confuse your patients. It tells them to remember to paste it. When you click on Google plus local, it actually opens up this box where they can simply paste it in and click publish, and it's done. That's how easy it is. And this is done at home by the patient. This is collected in office, but shared at home. The patient is not sharing it in the office. I want to make that clear. So this is a review left by Leah. This is my office, my review, and you can see she wrote about 4 lines. She went online, she left it on Google Plus for me, and as you can see, she added more content here. This is Leah's review, but she added a lot more information on her own, which your patients can certainly do if they so choose. So this is the website that we've created for all your reviews, and at this point, as of yesterday, at 155 reviews I've collected through my system, and it's really, really helping get patients into my office. And you can see all these different reviews. I want to point out to you that very few of them are one-liners. One-liners don't help you out, but these 4 or 5-liners are like stories, and people actually sit there and read them, and they are much, much more credible. This review page that I just showed you is now on the first page of Google in my office, right here. This is literally on the first page. So I told you there was 8 ways to get reviews. Number 1 is while the patient's in the office. Number 2 and 3 are via your mobile phone by getting either a text code or scanning a QR code. So in my office, patients can text the code review PCDE to themselves to 71441, or they can scan this QR code right down here. And this is the placard I showed you at the front desk. They then get sent a text message that says, thanks, please click the link to connect to our 3-question survey and to leave us a review. They click on the link, and it opens a mobile version of the software. Looks just like what you have on the desktop, except it's a mobile version. And they go through it the same way. They get sent an email to leave a review, or to share the review, share the feedback. So ways 4, 5, and 6 are through those less tech-savvy patients. Number 4 is literally the older patient who doesn't have email, doesn't have a computer. They can simply write it out for you. This is a great way to get feedback. You put it into the system. You're not going to get a share. It's not going to go to Google, but it's still going to go to Facebook. It's still going to go to your website. It's still very important to get those patients to leave feedback for you. We also have created an audio line for patients to call in and leave some feedback, and that's a great way to also if patients don't want to write it. So way number 7 is through your website. I would never, ever, ever in the past recommend asking patients to leave feedback on your website, because Joe Schmo down the street who doesn't like you can leave feedback. I've already proven to you that there's no real way to get negative feedback out there unless they trick the system and give you a positive 5 stars and write something terrible. The only way you can trick the system. But this is my website. You can see here, write your review, which takes into a version that allows the patient to leave feedback. And then see our reviews is actually the page where all the reviews are listed. So this is a great way to get more feedback about your business from your website. The last way is emailing your patients. And Lighthouse 360 and DemandForce and all these other companies do this pretty well. Statistics show about 3.8% of the people who actually get those emails click on them and write a review. 3.8. That's not pretty good odds. But we can email the patients, and we built into our program a webmail program. You put the patient's email address in there with please leave us some feedback, and then you can write your own little nice message to the patient for coming in. So this is what we've actually started doing in my office. This is an email I sent out, which basically says, thanks for coming in. If you have some time, we'd enjoy feedback to see how we're doing. And here's the link. This is the link that we give them. And we actually give them screenshots of what they're going to see. So we walk them through the process. This is what we're sending out to patients, and it's been pretty effective. So you can run them through this very easily with something like this. So the best thing about this program is you get reviews on your website, on your Facebook page, on your customer's Facebook page, and dozens of review sites, all from the unique IP addresses of your customers. And that's what iSocial Reviews is all about. Now the nice thing about it is that you can work in conjunction with Lighthouse and DemandForce, where you actually get a review through them, you put it into the system, and the patient will get an email asking them to share it. Or you can use it as a standalone product as well. So that's how our program works. I can answer some questions later on if you want. But how? How can you use social media now to improve your reputation? And that's really important how to do that. So here are some tips. So how to improve your reputation on Facebook. So as you can see here, this is my Facebook page. And of course, we have some feedback from our patients. Nancy left us some great feedback. But also you can have your patients leave recommendations for you. This is a great way to get some feedback from your patients on Facebook on their own, not even through our program. So you don't want to ignore recommendations. The other thing you want to do is you really want to make sure patients like your page. Liking your page is, like I said, instant word of mouth, and now we have about 101 people who are here. And when people check in, you can give them a whitening pen or something. It's still good to get people to check in. When they check in, all their friends see that they checked in with the dentist. And if they say something nice, great, even better. Facebook just switched to what's called graph search. And this is an amazing way to target and to search for things. When Google was king of search, they came out with Google Plus to try to get into Facebook's social media monopoly. Well, Facebook, being social media kings, wanted to try to get into Google's monopoly on search, so they came up with Facebook graph search. And basically, when people come in, people are going to search, they're going to say, dentist my friends like. Now, thank God I did this on my own Facebook. My friends like my page, thank God. But whatever dentist your friends like the most will come up. That's awesome that you can target like that. Same thing, dentists my friends have been to. And most of my friends have been to Scottsdale Center, which obviously are for dentists. But my office comes up third here, and it tells you that other friends were here. So you want your patients to like your page and to basically check in when they're at your office. Very, very important. And we use this card that we give out, check in here on our Facebook places for a special deal, and we give them a lightning pen or something. So the key here is to like and share. Like and share everywhere, as Buzz and Woody would say. Now, the most important thing on Facebook is content. Content is king. On Facebook, on Google, the amount of content you provide is going to take you places. It's very, very important. Now, you just don't want to like your Facebook page. Liking it's not going to get much. You want to ask your patients to get notifications. So if they get notifications, every time you post, they're going to get a notification, hey, Dr. Tau posted. Those are the people that are going to be most engaging with your office on Facebook. If someone just likes it, they're very infrequently going to see your post. It's just the way Facebook's EdgeRank works, sorry. And team members can make a lot of noise in jump-starting likes on your Facebook page by asking. It's very important to have team involvement here. And we use a grab bag. We use a Facebook grab bag where we actually let our patients pick out of a prize box. We have $5 Starbucks and Target gift cards. We have some lip balm. We have some pens in there. Any tchotchke that you want to give away, put it in this bag. And if they like your practice while they're there, they get to pick a prize. It works well. We got a lot of likes because of that. YouTube, I already told you how important it was. Now, because of the bandwidth issues and slow, I can't show this testimonial, but this is actually Jennifer's testimonial. She's very happy. We just completed some veneers on her, but she's sitting in my chair that I'm sitting in right now as we speak. This is my office chair. I'm sitting in the patient chair in my consult room, and patients are telling their story. They're telling how excited they are. This is what you want to get. This is like 30 seconds, this video. She's smiling. She's happy. She loves her smile. That's what you want to do with YouTube. You don't want to have to protect yourself from another bad review. You don't need this huge umbrella. And here are some examples of what you want to avoid. So this is Dave's limousine. I was looking for a car service to take me to a cruise ship in New York. And I looked at this limousine company, and can you believe at the time he had a score of 2 out of 30. I've never in my entire life seen a review this poor. Never. So you don't want to see a score of a 2. That's not going to get any business. It's going to turn so many patients away. And if I go back for a second, they also have a score of 2 out of 20 on Yelp, and they got a 2 out of something on Yellow Pages. They're not getting any business from the internet. And this is actually a dentist in Mount Holly, New Jersey. And this talks about the fact that he has horrible teeth, he has a temper, he unfortunately doesn't like black people, he's racist. You don't want to see this either. This is bad. This guy's not getting any patients from his Google page. One negative post can create a ripple that lasts a lifetime, and that's really, really important. So what are they saying about you and your practice? So step 3 in the process is monitoring and protecting your online reputation, which iSocial Reviews does as well. So this is a review that I received, so I'm showing you some of my stuff here. I went to Dr. Tau as a new patient, and I did not have a good experience. He seems very money hungry. He told me I need all this work done, which I really do not. He said I need all my fillings replaced because they can cause my children to be born with disabilities. Now, I would never say that. I mean, that's ridiculous. He also said I needed braces when I had braces as a child. I would not be back. So this is right on my Yelp page. I'm showing you what it says. I did nothing about this. I didn't worry about it. Don't stress about this stuff. It's not the end of the world. So I would not recommend this company to my worst enemy. That's not what you want to see. So how do we handle negative reviews? People always ask me that. How do I handle these reviews? The most important thing is you do not want to panic. Don't panic. You want to relax and calm down and take a deep breath and hold it for about 20 minutes. No, I'm just joking. You want to hold it and relax, take a deep breath, because you don't want to come out with your initial reaction. You want to keep calm, and as Dory said, just keep on swimming. Just relax. It's the most important thing. So a bad review may spoil your breakfast, but you shouldn't allow it to spoil your lunch. Literally, I mean, this is a great quote. Just literally forget about it after you read it. That's not the end of the world. So do you respond or not? What do you do? A lot of people respond. They literally shake their patient's hand out of the computer. Not something I do. I do not respond to anybody. And I'll show you why in a second. If you are going to respond, the most important thing to do is say, I'm sorry. No matter what, even if you're in the wrong, you want to say you're sorry. Now, I don't respond on Google or any of these other websites, but I do respond on social media. And this is a patient of mine, Jim, who's a great patient in the office, and he wrote, hate to do this, but I have to. I love all the staff, and they do excellent work. But every single time I have been there, the charge quoted is never close to what has been billed. I quoted 4, and the bill was almost 8. and that's 100, not dollars. A tooth pull was actually almost falling out, was another fiasco of improper billing. Seems like the bill doubles every single time. I was at a conference that night, and I got this at 9:29. I responded 30 minutes later. Jim, I will check into this when I get in the office tomorrow and see what the issue is. Not sure about the billing on the extraction. Should not have been charged. Any more that I stated, will follow up personally with you tomorrow. So I literally handled the problem. I called him as I promised him, and later that next night, guessing Novocaine wore off too fast, and I spilled some venom on this page. Doc called me this morning, and all is worked out. Confusion on both sides. All is good. Sorry, Doc. So he apologized, and I said, no problem, Jim. I'm glad I was rectified the situation. That's how you want to handle something on social media sites. That's why I showed this to you. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to do this. This is a client of mine in Hawaii, and this was the review someone posted on Yelp. So you guys pay attention to this. That was the worst experience I ever had at any dentist. That's all the person said. So, Gary, you watching this? That's all the person said. So, in my case, I would ignore this thing. I would never say anything else. Now,
there's no content. There's no information there.
Right. That was it. Okay. But the office, and as actually the husband wrote back on 7/23, 5 months later, of course, and they wrote this whole thing, this paragraph saying that they're sorry, that we hope you found a reputable dentist that can provide you the best care. Well, this patient got ticked off, and watch this. Wrote this diatribe. Look how long they wrote. This is what this review turned into. They wrote this update, and they wrote all this information. This is not good. It continues. Look how long this was. You do not want to do this. This can destroy your reputation online. So do not respond to these reviews. And hopefully this teaches you not to respond. So there's 4 creatures when it comes to online reputation. Which one are you? Are you the ostrich? See no evil, hear no evil, pretend nobody is talking about them. I hope you're not. How about this one? This is the turtle. Take no action, stick their heads inside their shells, let all the feedback bounce off without reacting. Then I used to be this way. I used to be the bull. They react immediately and cause havoc, like a bull in the china shop. And they react negatively, which can hurt your business. You do not want to be this. And last but not least, you have the owl, which I hope you are. You see all the forms of customer feedback, both positive and negative. You give a hoot. You care. You proactively ask for feedback, and you build patience into your biggest fans. So I hope everybody is an owl. Not everybody's going to be, but I hope you see the benefits of being an owl. So if you choose to not listen to me and respond, these are some things you should do. Do explain why the situation happened. Don't write angry rebuttals. Do not include your name or your business name in the rebuttal. Refer to yourself as we or our business, because it's going to create a negative link or a backlink to your practice. You don't want that. That's a bad link. You don't want that. But do remain calm and use it as a learning experience. So how do you deal with negative reviews? As we're dentists, it's going to happen. We have a chart room full of bad charts. People leave us all the time for whatever reason. It's going to happen. 1 or 2 negatives is not a big deal. It actually could help you, in my opinion, because it proves you're a real business. A business with 5-star, perfect 50 reviews is fake in my mind. Google Plus allows you to actually respond, which I don't agree with, like I said, and you want to use the feedback constructively. That's the most important thing. If someone says you're running late, you're running late. Remember that. Now, how can a bad review be good for your business? You can identify areas of improvement. Bad reviews or misspelled reviews make them look real. They're not perfect. It makes you more competitive, and it offers you an opportunity to turn your critics into fans. Extremely, extremely important. And I truly believe that a perfect business isn't one with perfect reviews. It's one that deals with reviews and feedback perfectly. And that's a big thing you got to pay attention to here. So what are the dark side of online reviews? There is some dark side. I want to spend the last few minutes talking about these. So what do we have here? This is a patient sues dentist who charged him for bad reviews. This actually took a twist recently. This dentist was basically suing the patient, or fining the patient $100 a day for leaving a negative review on some websites. So the dentist was charging the patient $100 a day, so the patient sued the dentist. This made national news. This is a dentist. Her name was Stacy. She was in New York. And it turns out the new news is that she literally disappeared. She's on the run. Nobody knows where to find her. If you check her name out, you'll read it about it online. I did not include the screenshot, unfortunately, but she's on the run right now, and nobody can find her. She actually had her patient sign a mutual privacy agreement, which gives the practice copyright over anything patients may write about it online. So this is not something you want to do. This is bad for your business. You don't want to attract the attention. This is like the Streisand effect for this practice. Now, a local dentist in Philadelphia, Dr. Ken Circa, also had his patients sign something like this. And this was an article written on our website called Ars Technica about basically wanting to own the reviews, that the reviews belong to the practice. And this Timothy Lee, who I actually reached out to after I saw this article, basically did not like Dr. Circa asking him for copyright information. So he wrote this scathing article online, which went viral. Hundreds and thousands of people wrote it. And overnight, Dr. Circa's reputation was destroyed. You can actually see here. This is back in 2011, but they talk about basically taking the First Amendment's rights, freedom of speech. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was not good at all. It was all related, not to his dentistry, but this problem he was having with owning these reviews. You do not want to do this. You also don't want to you don't want to sue your patient. So this was a Portland dentist suing his patient over internet posts. $300,000 he was seeking because this guy wrote bad reviews on Yelp, Dr. Google, and Google. Do not do this. Not good. And in fact, I read the reviews. They weren't that bad. So you do not want to do that either. Now, I showed you that screenshot before of the Facebook page in the very beginning. This was Dr. Edward Dove, a pediatric dentist in Bakersfield, California. He had given a cocktail to one of his pediatric patients. It didn't work, and the kid had a terrible experience in the office. So the father basically came out with a website called I Hate Dr. Dove, Bakersfield Dentist. And a couple of days later, over 200 people had joined, but Facebook took it down because they don't advocate hate. So they took it down. The next day, another page came up that said basically, Bakersfield Dentist does not rock, and here's what it looks like. And there was 279 members. They had all these photos that were posted, angry people at this doctor. They had pictures of kids with handprints on their face from holding them down. It was not good for this dentist. Here's the scary part. Over 200 members within 2 days. The man who created it could not prove his story was true. HIPAA prevented the dentist from discussing the case, and it actually turns out that only 3 members were actual patients, and the administrator would not give Dr. Dove access to respond. This destroyed him. He had a terrible reputation after this. So you got to be careful what's being said about you. Now, on that note, you don't also want to pay for reviews. I will give you positive 5-star reviews for your product for $5. You don't want to pay for reviews. People are going to know that you're lying, and here's Pinocchio leaving reviews, accepting money. You do not want to pay for reviews. And there's a lot of people out there, and this is an example coming up here. All reviews were left on the same date. They all had the same information. Duplicate reviews were appearing. The same names were appearing. These were all fake reviews, and Google caught up and took them down. You do not want to do this, nor do you want to do this. And this is amazing. Samsung recently, from April of this year, posts fake reviews and enters the Reputation Hall of Fame. They were posting fake reviews on websites. You do not want to do this. Absolutely can kill your business. So what are some online reputation tools to talk about? Well, one of them comes with iSocial, which is called a review report card. And this is mine, and at this point I had 952 reviews. It actually tells you all the reviews you have across the internet, if the information is correct, thus your citation is correct, and your overall score. This is sent weekly to my clients. Now, it also alerts you to when you get a new review alert, where it's found, and what the person said, so you can be alerted to it. Great way to do it. Now, another way to do it is through Google Alerts. This is a free service that Google offers you. It's google.com/alerts, and it's an online content detection and notification that automatically notifies users when new content's about them. And it's free, which is great. You can't beat that. And so here's an example, here's what you do. You put your search query in there and how often you want to be known and the email address. This is what you do. And then you'll get emails every so often. This is an alert to my Google account that says I was on TV for tooth trauma, I was on radio for tooth trauma last summer, and this was CBS Local picking up the feed and alerting me to that. They put it on their website. So this is what you want to be alerted to, anything about your practice that Google sees. So what are some best practices for online reviews? It's imperative that you institute an online review process in your office. It needs to be part of an everyday part of your business, and also it needs to become your culture in your office. Entirely, hugely important that you make it a part of your culture in your office. It must be a simple process. Your reviews can help your Google ranking. The more reviews, the more citations, the better ranking you will have. The best way to overcome bad reviews is to overwhelm them with good reviews. the large body of reviews is a good insurance policy. So you want to get them as often as you want. More often than not, you want to get reviews. And I will tell you that not every patient is going to share a review with iSocial Reviews. But if you have 155 reviews and 20% are shared, that means there's 100 reviews additional that someone's going to read about your practice. So you want to get as many reviews as possible. Reviews need to be real. That you want to learn the terms of its service of each website for encouraging reviews. So some of them don't want you to give anything to the patient. You need to read the terms of the reviews. Do not own the reviews, so don't get copyright on them. That's bad, as I already showed you. Dealing with bad reviews can be tricky, and you don't want to overreact. So overreacting can be worse. Vigilance is the best weapon against bad reviews, so you want to set up your Google alerts. Think of the reviews as a tool for your practice, not a hindrance. They can bring you great successes, I've proven to you. You can also help out other small businesses in your area. If you actually go to a Chinese food restaurant down the street, leave a review and ask for one back. Goodwill you spread might just return back to you, and that's really, really important. So in conclusion, online reputation leads the way, and you need to really pay attention to your online reputation. And I hope you actually realize that after spending the last hour and 13 or hour and 15 minutes with me. And the most important thing is protecting your online reputation one review at a time. That's what you need to do. You need to be like a superhero here. So just to let you know, I do have a consulting company. If you want to like our page, it's iSocial Dental Consulting. We give away free consulting sessions all the time. You can check out our Facebook page and get information. I update it pretty frequently. And also, if people are interested in learning more about iSocial Reviews, you can send me an email. Gary's office is using it. The webinar special, you can use just the word Takacs, so I know it's from this webinar. The regular price is $747 and $397 a month. There is a setup fee. Included in the setup fee is we claim all your local citations for you, so that's what the setup's all about. It's normally $397 a month, but people looking at this webinar, it's $597 a month setup and $347 a month. It's a great program. It will help you out immensely. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call or email me. I appreciate your attention, so thank you for your time and attention. I hope you actually learned a lot today. I know it was a lot of information in a short period of time, but here's my contact information. So if you do need to reach a hold of me, you can call me on my office line. You have my cell phone. My email address is there as well, or you can use social media sites, Facebook and Twitter, and contact me as well. But Gary, that's it. I hope
You're perfect on timing, Len. I would leave that screen up if you would for our listeners.
Sure.
And I'll make some comments here as we wrap up tonight's seminar.
Well, I told you it was an hour and 15 minutes. It was an hour and 15
minutes. You're right on. So. You're on the dot. I am very excited about introducing iSocial Reviews in my own practice. In fact, Len, I may have it wrong, but I believe next week you are doing some training with my two team members that are responsible for the administrative side of our practice. And although we've been good about collecting reviews. We have been asking patients for them in our office, and we have quite a number of reviews already. I'm very interested in taking this to a higher level through iSocial Reviews, and I can see where we could take the reviews that we have and literally expand the number of those geometrically. And you don't have to convince me about the power of reviews, because we have seen case after case after case of new patient that comes to us because of what they read about us online and what they have come to learn about us online. In fact, we had a wonderful case, if I can share a specific with you. Len, I think you and I talked about this in the past, but our listeners haven't heard this. We had a fantastic case of a patient that came to us as a sedation patient because of what she had read online. She was a very apprehensive patient. She was nervous about going to the dentist, and she read reviews of past patients that we had treated with oral sedation, with conscious sedation, and it caused her to make an appointment and in turn complete some very necessary treatment that got her on the path to great oral health. So I am really excited about introducing iSocial Reviews, and I wanted to bring this information to my audience and share the information that Len presented with you tonight. I want to thank you for being with us tonight. I realize that you spent about an hour and 15 minutes of your precious time to be here tonight. We are going to record, this has been recorded, and we are going to make that available. We'll send you an email in the next couple of days that if you'd like to re-review this, and you'll have a link to be able to re-review the webinar tonight. On that basis, let me simply say thank you, Len. Thanks so much for sharing your information tonight. I know you're passionate about what you do, and you're passionate about helping dentists manage their online reputation. So I want to thank you for your passion. Thank you for sharing this with our listeners tonight. And in turn, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We sure appreciate your attendance. And I hope you've learned something tonight that will help you develop a more successful and thriving practice. On that note, thank you guys. Watch for our email in the next couple of days to get the replay if you'd like. And thanks for being in contact. And if you're interested, follow up with Len directly. And I know he'll look forward to working with you. Len, thanks so much.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.